Testing. Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hey. How is everyone doing today? Hopefully, it's December, man. It's literally December. I'm just like, whoa, next month, 2024 is almost here. So I'm actually looking forward to 2024. I've enjoyed 2023 thoroughly. Do me a favor, just say hi in the chat. I'll mention it again. But if you don't know me, my name is Devon Morris. I answer your questions about Scrum, Agile, entrepreneurship, all these kind of things. I've been around Scrum and Agile since 2005. I'm a certified Scrum trainer, and I got a bunch of other certifications. So maybe I can help you just a little bit. So we're going to have a blast tonight because we're going to talk about setting goals that will max cash and freedom in 2024. Something that I would assume the vast majority of you are interested in. The vast majority of you are interested in. Now, again, if you haven't joined the channel, always like and subscribe because that always helps the channel out. Next year, we're going to have a goal to kind of make the channel bigger. So we'll see how that works out for us. Other than that, just so you know how we do things, we kind of go through a topic, and our topic of the day is the setting goals that will max cash and freedom in 2024. That's our topic of the day. We kind of start that topic about 5 minutes after, and then we go till about 25 minutes after, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe even shorter. It really depends. And then we open up the floor for any questions, and we will stay on until 9 o'clock. If nobody has any questions, we'll go out early. But other than that, we stay on until we answer all your questions, right? And that's how we rock every single week. Now, just so you know, next week I have to go to my goddaughter's birthday party. And I don't know if we're gonna be done in time for me to really rock the show. So I'm gonna move the show next week until to Wednesday. Now, just so I can make sure I'm not crazy here, um, Wednesday the 13th of December. So Wednesday the 13th of December will be the next time we'll have the show. When we don't get to do it on Mondays, I like to switch it to Wednesdays. So Wednesdays will be that next go for us. So next Wednesday, December the 13th, will be our next show. And I'll figure out what the topic could be for that and everything else. We'll go from there. Let's see. What else do I need to let you know? I mean, we're almost at the end of the year. I'll let you know when the last show is going to be. I don't want it to be the 18th, but it may need to be the 18th of December. Give you guys a couple weeks off away from this. And then, getting started right back in January, first or second week in January. So really determining what that's going to be. You all let me know what you think we should do. But other than that, hopefully you're thinking about your goals, right? And setting goals. But I'm all about time, freedom, and money is a good facilitator of those things, right? In terms of this week, I had a CSPO class starting today. And then I have a CSM class next week, an ACSM class after that. So just, always in the year with a few classes, just because I love to talk to you. So it looks like my levels are good. It looks like everything is great. Just once again, make sure you say hi to everybody in the peanut gallery. Okay. Say hi to me. I'll shout you out a little bit later. So make sure you give that hello out, whether you are here on YouTube or you're on LinkedIn. Just make sure you say something, say hi. I will say this to you though, if you are on LinkedIn and Facebook, if you really want to truly interact with us, I would advise you to go ahead and join the YouTube channel. Go on and jump on YouTube, and that's where we do the majority of our interaction. So, that being said, let's start jumping into our topic for the day. We're 5 minutes after, so let's just kind of do that. So let's begin it. So, setting goals that max cash in 2024 is what this is all about at this point in time. And here's the deal. Probably the very first thing that I really need to say to you is this. If you're going to define any goals whatsoever, you need to start with what freedom means to you. If you don't define what freedom means to you, then it's like you're just sailing on a ship with no direction. Okay? It is absolutely critical for you to determine what freedom looks like for you. Does freedom mean for you that you spend more time with your family? Does freedom mean that you have the ability to travel to some of those places that you've always dreamed about traveling? Does freedom means that you have the opportunity to pursue some passion of yours, right? If you are able to figure out what freedom looks like for you, then you can figure out targets. And I love to say financial targets, but there are other targets that you can actually figure out as well. So it is extremely important that you kind of start with defining what freedom looks like to you. And I'll ask you all, everyone is here, could you type in the comments what freedom looks like for you? Okay. I'm asking you that, and I'm asking you to throw it in the comments. I'm not asking for the perfect answer, right? But just what does freedom look like for you, right? One of the catalysts for me starting Bearded Eagle was to have more time for my kids, um, especially when I moved to Texas, or really had to come to Texas, and one of my kids was in Illinois. Having the ability to go to all of her events, and really travel that via plane, was extremely important to me raising her, right? And so freedom for me was really positioning my children to be in a better place and to make sure that I was able to spend time to some degree. Okay. Now that meant there were targets that I would have to go after. But the first thing that I had to do was define what freedom looked like for me, because I would feel guilty if I wasn't there for her. Does that make sense? Okay. And so that right there started it off for me. Now, that's grown to be something very different, right? I have this dream now of me being a junk man, right? Now, for many of you, junk man may mean I'm broke as crap, right? But for me, junk man means that I am free of the bonds that society has put me in, free of the chains that society has kind of put on me, right? And part of that is making sure that my people are good, right? Once my people are good, then I'm really good I'm good to go to be a junk man. And so there's a lot that comes to being a junk man for me. It's just not going and just being broke. Does that make sense? And so I have this dream in today's world of becoming a junk man. That's what freedom looks like for me today. What does freedom look like to you? Drop it in the comments. It's something really important for you to think about because it's really the start of where you're going to take that next step. So it's very, very important. So drop that in the comments if you have any idea what that looks like for you. Okay? Start there first because that's your why. And your why is something that you'll always need to kind of pull on when you need to. Okay? So it's really, really important to understand that. We're not done there. Okay? So we started off with define what freedom looks like for you, what it means to you. Here's the deal. The next thing here. I want you to establish clear financial targets. Now, all right. There's a thing with people being really critical about money. But the truth of the matter is, even religious institutions expect you to tithe. So everybody can say money's a horrible thing, but the place you need to start with probably is developing some kind of an income goal. Set a target for yourself, right? Salary, side hustles. If you're all in the gig economy, how you're going to be gigging to get there. Is there any passive income streams? All these things are extremely important for you to kind of work through and determine. But it starts first with building some income goals. Make sure that those income goals are smart goals, right? Just please do that. You're going to help yourself out tremendously. Another thing that you want to do is you want to look at your savings. You want to look at any investments you have because here's the deal. That you got to counterbalance because you need to determine how much you need to save or invest, right? It could be that you set some budget and you put a percentage of your income someplace special. It could be that you put a particular dollar amount someplace special, right? I always think about me being a consultant, and one time, at least when I started thinking about consulting, I had to put 3 to 6 months of salary away. And really, for Bearded Eagle to work, the first contract that we had was a 90-day turnaround. So after we submitted the invoice, they pay us in 90 days, right? Now that means I'm 120 days out before I get paid. Does that make sense? And so for my family to not have the roller coaster, I had to make sure that I put certain things away to cover 6 months. Does that make sense? Because everybody don't pay you on time, right? So it's important for you to think about that. Now, also, when you think about these financial targets, I want you to think about expenses that you have. One of the biggest things that can help you get free is to make sure that you eliminate as much debt as possible. I remember talking to my aunt about the house that she had in Miami, and she paid that house off in 7 years, right? And those things can be achieved if you bought something that was reasonable, right? If you went out and you tried to, keep up with the Joneses and everything else, you're gonna be on that 30-year mark, which means the banks make most of the money off you. So if you think about debt and find ways to reduce that debt, is going to be helpful for you, extremely helpful to you. So don't forget to do that. Make sure you think through these things, those income goals, whatever savings and investments you have, and the debt that you need to deal with. We all gotta, most of us got a tad bit of debt, right? Most of us got a tad bit of debt. And most businesses, the reason why they fail is not because you had a great idea that maybe went wrong. Most businesses fail due to debt. Most of them fail due to debt. So be careful about that, especially you got these big dreams of things you're trying to do. I want to see you take off in 2024. I want to see you fly wherever you want to fly, be whoever you want to be in 2024. As long as you being a good citizen to society and you're not harming nobody, then man, I'm supporting you. I'm game, dog, for real. You understand? So make sure that you do me a big favor, establish some extremely clear financial targets. I'm not going to ask you to put in those financial targets in the comments at all. I just want you to think about that personally for yourself and figure out how you're going to deal with it. Just make sure you spend some time on it. The sooner you do this, the better. You start off 2024 the right way. Trust me, you will be extremely happy. It doesn't stop there because the next thing that I need you to do is something that my guy, I have a guy, some of this guy I've known for a while since I think 2007, right? His name is Joe Doherty, and on LinkedIn, the first here's exactly what he said. He said, "Cryptocurrency mining, but seriously, everyone needs multiple income streams. Working a W-2 for the man won't get you as far as you like." That's a quote from Joe Doherty. And, we're thinking the same thing because he's one of the consultants that I always looked up at because he was doing that consultant thing before I was, and he was in that agile space. And so people like that, I definitely respect them. I respect the comments that they make. And so I'm just telling you, was somebody who I looked at and said, I'm gonna be like that guy right there, right? And the thing is that it's really hard to be that way if you're thinking to yourself, a single income is gonna get you there. A single source is gonna get you there. Diversifying your income will bolster your financial security. It's one of those things where I think about recessions and I think about cities that have been hit by recessions and cities who have a kind of one type of industry. When that industry falls apart, the city falls apart. Steel mills in Gary, I think about that, right? When I think about my hometown where I'm from, Chicago, there's a bunch of different industries, in Illinois and Chicago. And so you don't feel the brunt of that when one industry fails. That's because they got multiple industries, multiple incomes, right? And so when you think about it, right? If you got to do freelance work, do it. If you got a side business, a side hustle, you're involved in that gig economy, do that. If you're investing in stocks, do that. You day trading, maybe you want to trade 24 hours around the clock. I don't know. Real estate, right? Passive income sources are going to be very helpful for you to kind of get yourself to that place. So just know multiple income streams is where it's at. Okay. If you don't have multiple income streams, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. And so for me, I think to myself, right? All right, self, I got money coming in here. I got money coming in here. I got money coming in here. And once you start doing that, you start thinking out other places where you can have money come in. So it is one of those things where it's extremely important for you to have multiple income streams. You don't do that, you're going to be in a situation sooner or later. Okay. Sooner or later, you will be. So focus on that. I'm going to ask a question, and I'm not asking how much money you make or anything like that. But I got several people in the chat, and I'll ask you, have any of you all truly have more than one source of income? I just need a yes. Yes, for anybody that's doing that, right? Because for the rest of you that's not, these are the people that you need to talk to. Those are the people that you need to talk to because you don't got to know exactly what they do or how exactly they make the money or what or how you need to get exactly to the place where they're at. You just need to know and see people that are doing that so you can at least do it because there's nothing stopping you from doing it in the world today. It is way more different ways to make money than it was when I was growing up. So realistically, I know some of you are already doing this and you're just maxing it. You're making it happen. So I'm proud of you all that's doing it. That's a major plus. Okay. That's a super plus. Now, if you don't know this already, If you like this content, make sure you subscribe, like, right, and click the notification button. It's really important for you to do that because we're going to start building this channel more and more, and it helps us. It helps the algorithms out. Plus, it's free for you to do that. Let's continue this journey and let's keep moving. The next thing I'm going to tell you to do is to invest in business and financial education. I hate to say it. I'll say this way, right? I was talking to my stepdaughter today, right? One of my stepdaughters, I was talking to her, right? So I got two stepdaughters, right? And so, well, I'm going to say my daughter, right? So one of my daughters, right? Here's the deal. She asked me, she has an opportunity, but she can, kind of get a salary from somebody or put it through the little company that she has. And my statement to her was, hey, are you ready to be able to deal with the financial impacts, the tax implications of having it come through your own company? If you are ready to do that, then my recommendation would be for you to do it through your own business. For tax reasons, minimum, right? And so I think if you don't have some type of LLC in the United States of America, I think you are doing yourself a huge injustice. If you don't have no corporation, LLC, a business in the United States of America, I think you are wasting a lot of time, okay? Because there's so many other things that you can do by simply having a business. I mean, you know, back when Trump was in office or getting ready to come out of office, man, I know so many people, plus myself, that bought a whole car based on the tax codes at that time. You understand? And did that through the business. And so it makes no sense for you not to have a business. Now, the thing is that it's not just about having a business, because a lot of businesses fail because we don't understand money. You have to understand how to manage money and how to make money grow. Those things are pivotal, right? You need to invest time in your personal finances and your business finances, how you're gonna invest, right? Financial planning is another thing. Dealing with expenses and income, understanding balance sheets. All these things are important to you because at the end of the day, money management is likely something that you're gonna need. Now, people say money is the root of all evil, but money helps you to get to the destination that you're trying to get to. It really does, right? And the only people that say it's evil is the people that ain't got it. It's just true, right? Tell me, who is super rich that complain about money? They don't complain about money. They complain about being unhappy because money don't make you happy at the end of the day. But it can help you do some things that can make you happy. Anyway, you all understand what I'm saying, right? So make sure that you absolutely invest in business and financial education. I think both of those things are extremely important, and the more you can do that, the better off you're going to be. Another thing that you should do, you should leverage technology for efficiency, okay? Not to just be wasting your time. Like, I don't want to see you scrolling on Facebook all day. I just don't want to see that, right? Scrolling is addictive because it's like you get a dopamine push every single time. But I want you to leverage technology because technology is going to make things easier for you. Now, why am I really saying that to you? It's not complicated. Here's the deal. Financial apps, tools for budgeting, tools for investing, tools for tracking expenses are all going to be helpful for you. But let me just go further than that. Artificial intelligence, AI, baby. Why? Why would you not be heavily betting on AI? I mean, why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be? Okay? There are things that AI can help you do that's ridiculous at this point. That's ridiculous. And we ain't even really at the good place yet. It hasn't even reached a crescendo yet, right? And so you definitely need to be using technology, whether it's email marketing, You need to find ways to allow technology to multiply what you can do. The more you can do that, the better off you're going to be. I'm going to ask because there's some people here doing it, and no question, right? How are some of you in the chat? I just want you to type it in the comments. How are you using technology to make some of the things you do more efficient or hopefully even eliminate it? What are some of the things that you're doing? Just type it in the chat because I want you to help other people out, right? Just type it in the chat, right? Because I know some of you all are utilizing tools out there, and I use several. Trust me, I use several, right? Do you think that prior to a class, I send an email out 7 days before personally? I send an email out 5 days before personally, 3 days before personally, an hour before personally. Do you think I'm really going through sending emails on the hour to everybody? No, I'm not. I run a campaign. That campaign is automated as soon as you buy the product. Does that make sense? That saves me a tremendous amount of time. It's like having a good friend, man. It really is, right? And so for me, automation is something that's critical for the business that I'm in, right? And so I don't know how you cannot do automation and AI at this point. Automate everything you can automate, right? If I could automate taking a shower, I would. If I could automate brushing my teeth, I would. Because it would probably be more efficient than brushing my teeth, right? I don't have bad teeth, right? But it's not, probably would be more efficient, is my point, right? I'm just saying, try to figure that out, okay? But using technology to help make you more efficient is extremely important. And I believe that it will be very helpful for you. Trust me. Next thing, you need to prioritize skill development, right? One of the things is, man, if you don't know this about me, I am currently in a PhD program. Because I want to be a better researcher. I love researching. I want to be a better researcher, and I want to be able to pull on the knowledge of academia, right? There's a book called Drive by Dan Pink, or pick a book by Dan Pink. You know what Dan Pink gets a lot of his information? Academia. He does, right? He goes to studies and then use those studies to talk about something great that exists. So, I want to be able to do that, but I wasn't able to. And now I know I can. And I know I can go much deeper than ever before. I can tell you some of the great things that work in Agile today and some of the things that don't because I dove into the literature and I can justify these things. My question is, what are you doing to skill up? What are you doing? How are you prioritizing your skills? I'm going to ask you something. What's a skill that you would like to gain for 2024? Just name one skill you would like to gain for 2024. I'm going to tell you right now, my skill for 2024 is going to be simply mastering the efficiency of getting the dissertation done. That's my 2024 skill that I'm trying to maximize. Trust me, I'm gonna read some articles, I'm gonna read some journals, I'm gonna go into some books, and that's my skill that I'm prioritizing for 2024. Seriously, because in 2025 I want to rock it. So I'm prioritizing that skill. Drop in the comments, what skill are you prioritizing for 2024? Now, I say this for many reasons because the job market is constantly changing. So making sure that you upskill is absolutely crucial to any game plan that you have, period. You can't really get around it, okay? So make sure you invest in some new skills for yourself so you can increase your marketability, you can increase your gigs, you can increase your side hustles, you can, earn more where you're at, whatever it is, right? Help you to create the multiple incomes. What skill are you prioritizing for 2024? I love to know that, right? Love to know that. So make sure you make that happen, right? Let's see. Here's another one I'd like to talk to you about. Practice minimalization. Minimizing things, right? Minimalism is important, right? The only reason why I put this here is for two reasons. Okay, you have to find a way to be have a minimalist approach to your spending, because then you start spending too much, and then that money not giving you any return on investment. Okay, now I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, I just thought about this just now. Look at this. Look at what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a nice bearded eagle shirt. Dog, you know I've had this shirt since 2013, maybe 2014. This shirt, 2014, right? I made sure I got great stitching done. It's great stitching on the back. You feel me? I got the shirt done in 2013. And this is my uniform. I've worn these shirts ton, ton. Okay? And you know what? I bought quality. I bought quality and did quality embroidery, right? I made sure that I did those two things because this will last me longer. Otherwise, I've been changing all the time, right? This will help you save money. You understand where I'm coming from? So I try to find ways to buy quality in the things that I do and make sure that I do as little spending as I possibly can. And when I do spend, buy the best quality that I can that's going to help me to spend less in the future. Does that make sense? So very, very important that you practice minimalism. That's what you want to do. Very, very important. Now I think I got one more here. One more here. I'm kind of running out of time. So one more here. So stick with me on this. Oh no, this is not the last one. I got another one after this, I do believe. I had to add this one, right? Make health and wellness a priority. You know, here's the deal, right? We have an obesity problem. We have a health problem, especially in the United States. We really, really do. And forget obesity. The amount of people sick every day makes no sense. A lot of times it's the food that we eat. It's just us not taking care of ourselves. I was looking at a doctor on some video, and he said for every hour that you exercise, you will gain you will add 3 hours to your life. Assuming that you're not out here, running drugs around the country and you're not gonna get caught up in some gang fight, right? So no, I'm talking about a natural death, right? He said literally for every hour that you kind of exercise, you get 3 hours in terms of your life. Man, that's an amazing trade-off. That's an amazing trade-off, right? That's an amazing trade-off. So why wouldn't you want to trade that off? If you had all the money in the world and you died at 50 something, what did you know, you had the Steve, whatever his name is, he died early. Like he didn't get to have all this money later in life, right? I want to be an old man, right? So I have to throw this out here to make sure that you um prioritize health and wellness. Just because money is no good when your body's no good, right? So health is probably your biggest wealth. And setting goals to maintain your health is absolutely critical to you enjoying your freedom and the wealth that you earn through, you're doing these other steps. Okay. Last but not least, man, you need to be maniacal. I mean, people don't want to look at maniacs as being positive, but you have to be maniacal about your dreams. You have to be maniacal about your passion. If you're not maniacal about your dreams and passion, then who's going to believe on in you when nothing's going right? You have to be that believer. You have to be the person that's going to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and make it happen. So you have to be maniacal about what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. And the more you can be maniacal about it, even if it takes a little bit longer than expected, you'll get there. You'll get there. Because it's almost like breathing, right? Being maniacal is next to breathing. Okay? If you can't be maniacal about it, you can hold your breath. Because it's just gonna take you longer to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So I would say to you, be maniacal about whatever your passion is, whatever this thing is that you're trying to do, because the more you do that, the better off you will ultimately be. Okay, the better off you'll ultimately be. You know, hey, it just is what it is, right? It's just one of those things where I think these are amazing tips. Um, and I hope that you all are taking this in because I really thought about this, right? I love the be maniacal part, right? That last one right there, is the linchpin for me. But I'm gonna go backwards through these things like I always do. Make sure you be maniacal, right? Um, Make sure you prioritize health and wellness. Please do that for yourself. Practice minimalism. That's important for you to do. Manage that spending. Please do that. Prioritize some type of skill that you want to develop in 2024. Make sure you leverage technology for efficiency. That's important. Then you want to invest in business and financial education. That's going to be very helpful for you for the long term. Sooner you do it, the better. Trust me. Create multiple income streams. Probably one of the most important things to do. Make sure you establish clear financial goals that gives you something to reach up to, and then define what freedom means to you. That's your why. So this right here is realistically how you will utilize goals, set goals that will max cash and freedom in 2024 for yourself, for your family, for the people that you love. Okay. On that note, we're going to leave it on that one. I appreciate everybody, right? And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Make sure you give a shout out here. Tell us that you're here. Let me know that you're here. I see a couple comments. I think your audience here does not engage in negative behavior. Well, I hope they don't engage in negative behavior. I hope they don't do that, right? But the idea is that maybe people are too busy writing stuff down and they just ain't got time to engage because they busy writing. I'm cool with that, right? So, but welcome, K Kid. Always, always, right? Patrick, how you doing? How's it going for you, Patrick? Welcome back. Always love to see you, brother. Tony, hopefully you enjoyed class today. I know you're back. Me and Lizzie got different styles, don't we? But welcome. Shane, Six Sigma, go for it, brother. I'm Six Sigma certified. I love it. Let's see who else is here. Hey, Denise, how you doing? Love that automation and AI thing. I think is extremely important. Everybody should be thinking about automation and AI. Let's see. Fabian, how you doing? Hopefully things are going well for you. Haven't seen you in a while, so welcome. Maybe I just haven't seen the comment, so I'm not saying you haven't been here. Syed, how's it going? D, what's going on with you? How are you? And hey, Rajiv, how's it going, buddy? So here's the question I'm going to ask you all. Really very simple. Hopefully that was valuable to you. I hope that one of those things stuck out to you the most. If there was if there was anything that I would say I hope stood out to you more than any of them, I hope it's the be maniacal part, man. Like, you know, yeah. Knowing your why and being maniacal is both extremely important. So I mean, it just yeah, I love it. So, all right, so here's the deal. My question for you is real simple. We're going to go ahead and close that part of the show where we talked about the actual idea here, or at least the topic of the day. And next week we'll probably talk about smart goals or something like that so we can get that in. But just remember next week, December the 13th, not the 11th. So we're moving the show from Monday to Wednesday. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, click the notification button, do all that great stuff. Hey Philip, how's it going? No problem. Hey man, you gotta, you gotta get that exercise in, right? I heard that guy say that and I was just like, I like him. I hope it's true. So that's good. So here's if you don't know how this operates. Here's what we do here. We open the comments for you to ask questions. The best place to ask questions is on YouTube because I get to interact with people on YouTube and not any other place. So please join us on YouTube if you have questions. Drop your questions right there in the comments and then we can go from there. I had someone send me a question via email, and I'm going to go to that email real quick and see if I can answer the question that they sent across. I will try my best not to, tell who the person is at all. Um, if I have it anymore, because it doesn't seem like I have it. Let me look. and see if I see it. I don't see it anymore. Let me just double check. It could be me, could be me, could be me, could be me. So let me just double check one more time as you all are thinking about your questions. Let me see if I can find this thing. Okay. So let's see. Here's the statement, and I'll talk about this, and I'll read this off to you. Someone took my CSPO back in 2021 and found it enormously beneficial for their job. They were promoted to a lead business analyst that year, and they're working on getting a manager title early next year, right? They're currently leading three business analysts. I'm writing because I need your advice. If you have time, I'm sorry, this is something that somebody sent me last month, early last month at that. We have a new software development manager, and he wants the user stories in a certain format, and I am a little uncomfortable with his way. He doesn't want slash need anything in the description area of the user story. He wants everything listed in the acceptance criteria. My problem with that is that the acceptance criteria loses its simplicity, and we easily find ourselves talking about the how. I'm especially concerned about the requirements that are not necessarily testable by QA and just directions that affect a back end process. What do you think? Would you add every single requirement in the AC in Gherkin method with nothing in the description? Am I incorrect in thinking? Okay, so for those that don't know, the Gherkin method is a given when then scenario based type of acceptance criteria. It basically kind of goes given the scenario, when this happens, then this is the outcome, right? And to me, Gherkin is an amazing thing to do. Okay. Now, Gherkin is just a form of acceptance criteria, or what we would call behavior driven development is just an acceptance criteria. But I want to separate this into two different things. Okay. One, your boss, politics in an organization versus what's right, well, versus theory and versus what's right in practice. Okay. Now, here's the deal. Theory first. Theoretically, your acceptance criteria should be from the user perspective, should stay away from the how. Absolutely should stay away from the how. There's no question about that because the user story is from the perspective of the user. The acceptance criteria is what's acceptable from that perspective of the user. So that means that it shouldn't really include any how. Now, I will say this though. If I needed to add additional things beyond that, I would probably add an attachment. And that attachment would include whatever else is needed, right? There may be an architecture that's needed, a design that's needed, right? A wireframe that's needed. There might be business rules that's needed, which is too many to list out, right? On the acceptance criteria. There could be many things that you might consider as additional information to help them with that particular requirement, with that particular user story, okay? And for me, theoretically, that's the right thing to do, okay? Practice though. My question for you is what you're currently doing, does that work for the team overall? For your developers, for your software developers, your testers, if you're doing IT stuff, but for your developers in general. When I say developers, I'm talking anyone that's working on any aspect of building whatever we're trying to build. So if that works for your developers, you have examples that you can go to management and justify that this works and we are effective with what we're doing today. And changing it will could have an impact on your ability to deliver. So I would go there and show examples of this being true. Okay. And this is where, since you have practice there, practice can actually help you to justify why you should keep things, improve things where they are, keep things out of getting into the how, especially as business analysts, because you're not doing the actual work there. The developers should organize themselves around how to do that work. Um, And so for me, I would utilize that information to justify it and get them to say, continue doing it how you do it. Plus, there's connecting points that go beyond your team that would also need to adjust if you decide to change things. So my thought process is your practice should justify you keeping practices that work. Okay. Okay. So theory agrees with you. Practice, I'm assuming, agrees with you in terms of not changing what you're doing. However, the one thing that theory and practice can't defeat is a boss who can fire you, is a boss who wants things a particular way, whether that's right or wrong. Okay? Scrum can't do anything about that. And that leader should get out the way and let the team do what's in the team's best interest. However, Scrum has no Scrum police, and Scrum cannot make that person act right, do things as expected, or not do things in the past that they were used to seeing. So my advice to you is to sit down and have a conversation about the theory and the practice that's actually working in your organization and help them to understand how changing this will have a huge impact on our velocity, on our return on investment, whatever it is you're trying to measure as success. But just remember, Scrum can't tell them what to do. So if they want to do whatever it is that they do, they're your boss. They probably can tell you to do that. There's many agile practices that I've had to snuff or kick to the curb because there were managers that didn't care about that stuff. Does that make sense? So you got to be careful, okay? And we have support in the community. You see here, I've been listening to Mike Cohn this year, and he has spoken out against acceptance criteria in a lot of instances as it can detract from the empirical process and discovery. And I can agree with Mike on that. The only problem is um, if you don't have co-located teams or teams that's working hand in hand with each other all the time, it's harder to not have some level of documentation because the discovery process is asynchronous, it's not synchronous. And when you have an asynchronous discovery process, all the minds aren't there to get the information that's needed. So it makes it really hard to skip things like what does done look like, especially when those people don't have exposure to users and things of that nature. So something to definitely think about. But I can completely understand where that sentiment comes from, right? So anybody else that has any comments that can help her, please drop it in the comments. Um, I've given up each side of the equation. Hopefully that helps. And then I told her I'll talk about it this week as well. So hopefully that helps. If that doesn't help, come on the show and actually get on the show with me and let's talk about it, right? All right. So that being said, we had about 14, 15 minutes before we're done. So my question for you is, does anyone else have any questions about anything at this point in time? Y'all ready for 2024? Hopefully you are. If you're not, I'm concerned. I'm very, very concerned. Drop those questions in the comments. Drop those questions in the chat. Please do that. Let me go check my other board here to see if anybody's dropped anything over there. I don't see anything over there, so we're good to go. Yeah, man, I'm just happy. We're getting at the point where we're at the end of the year. I'm like, I feel good about it. I really do. I had an interesting day today. It was a good day, but it was interesting. You know, made me think twice about a ton of things, right? Let's see. Let me just double check here. Yeah, so I think we're solid here. So anyone with any questions? Any questions? Yeah, man, I've just been having fun. But I have fun all the time. I always tell people that, I since I have a passion about what I do, it's just one of those things that it don't feel like work. You feel me? It just don't always feel like work, and I love that. All right, oh hey Bridget, how you doing? How's it going? Boom. Okay. I'm ready to make more money. Yeah, go through these things that we talked about because Bridget, multiple streams of income, understanding your why, being maniacal about this stuff, I think is extremely important. Extremely important. Um, it is it typical better to form an LLC if you are a contractor or simply as a W-2 contractor? That's up to you. I mean, you know, every company doesn't pay companies. Every company doesn't pay companies. Some companies will pay you as a 1099. Some companies will pay you a salary, right? It depends on what you're trying to do. You know, with my ex-wife, we had Bearded Eagle already, and she wanted to get a gig doing something, and they were going to pay her the same rate, whether it was through the company or through them. So we talked to the accountant. They said just go through them because at the end of the day, you planning to direct the money over to this. The taxes will be automatically come out. They pay part of the taxes that a bearded eagle paying the taxes. They will be accountable for unemployment when that happens. So it made more sense in that situation to for us in terms of us having a business at that time, me still running wild with bearded eagle stuff and then her needing to do that contract to just kind of build her confidence back up because things happen with the CST. It just worked out better for her to be a W-2 employee for them to some degree, right? Because they were given the same rate, the same exact rate, and so that worked out well for us, right? But if you can get a company to pay you, I always think to myself, at least this is what I was told when I became a contractor. Dude told me that you need to consider your health. You need to consider all those benefits that you get that is not revenue. You need to consider all those things, and you need to make sure you make enough money to cover those things. I classically think of a third. A third of my money is going to go to those things, right? And so if a third of my money is going to go to those things, that means I need to make a third more minimum versus where I want to be at, right? So then that money that comes in is really money that comes into my pockets, not goes into other things. So if you're gonna have an LLC, you're gonna 1099, you're going to have a corp to corp, whatever it's gonna be. You need to understand the tax ramifications for it. It is best for you to talk to an accountant for an hour and figure it out, right? I go for tax breaks more than anything else. Um, Tax breaks is always more important to me. For many, many reasons, right? Especially now that my kids are mostly grown. So I don't claim no kids. I don't claim, so I'm just looking for tax breaks. And the best places to get tax breaks for me has always been through the business, through having a business, right? So it's completely up to you. Um, but I always lean toward having some type of entity. I always that's my first mindset is to have some type of entity. I know when we did that thing with my ex-wife Lizzie a while ago, yeah, we did it for specific reasons in terms of where we were at that time, and that she just needed to do something that was a little separate from Bearded Eagle. But again, could we have took it? We could have, but it just didn't make any sense because we'd have been accountable for the extra taxes and the unemployment and everything else, and it just no, let's just put that on them, right? So that made more sense for us. But you look at your personal situation and set of circumstances and talk to people who know about this stuff and get them to answer, get them to help you come up with the best decision that you can. But having an LLC that you don't use is stupid. Like, don't go and like I would not create an LLC for the great sake of creating it, unless it was going to help me with taxes in some kind of way. Like it was someplace I was going to count losses, right? If I was going to count losses over there in that entity, yeah, I created, right? But just one to have sitting there that you're going to pay fees on for no reason, no, that right there is stupid, right? And if you're a first time, I would probably try to get a customer before I get any LLC, at least one customer before I get an LLC, right? Because you can pretend like you're losing money, but that don't always work out in your favor. Trust me, talk to an accountant. Talk to an accountant. Best person to talk to is an accountant. Pay them the $250 or whatever they're gonna charge you, and trust me, it'd be some of the best advice you ever got. Okay, talk to an accountant. Okay, I know some of the stuff that I've done, but it's been very specific in terms of those situations. Okay, very specific. Okay, but yeah, it's definitely something to consider. But at the end of the day, my basic statement is: if you live in the United States of America and you don't have a business entity of some kind, why are you wasting your time in the age of the corporation? Why are you wasting your time? Realistically, small businesses make up the majority of what America does, right? There are always towns that really support small businesses. You don't always have to be in a big city where everything's going down all the time. So I would always yeah, I'm always a supporter of having a business entity. Okay, but like I said, talk to an accountant about your circumstances is what I would say is the best advice for you. All right. So that being said, looks like we're good, man. Looks like we're good. I'm trying to see if there was there any other questions. It don't look like it. It looks like we're good to go, man. It really does. Yeah, it looks like we're good to go. So we're gonna leave it at that, y'all. It's been an amazing day. Again, I think this is one you should put on repeat. I really do. Um, you know, yeah, I really do think this is something you should put on repeat. If I'll be honest with you. By putting this on repeat, I think it's gonna be helpful for you. I really do. Okay. On that note, I'm going to say it has been a pleasure to spend some time with you. Remember, next week is going to be next Wednesday, December 13th, not December the 11th. Okay. Um, I'll send a note out about that and everything else, and then we'll go from there. But other than that, y'all, I really do appreciate y'all. I really do love y'all. Um, Peace and make sure you have an amazing week, right? Denise, I'm gonna always try to show up for y'all all the time. Just know that. So ain't nothing but love here. So come on, get this knowledge. Let's make life work. So on that note, I will see y'all next Wednesday. Have an amazing week. Peace.